Hello and welcome to our viewers here in Nigeria, the continent and all around the world. This is Newsroom series where we bring you stories from across Nigeria. Our focus today is on the South region. But just before we take you there, let's begin with our developing story in Jigawa State, where about 100 people have been killed and over 50 others injured in that state, northwestern Nigeria. They tried to scoop up fuel from an overturned petrol tanker, causing the vehicle to explode in flames. The accident occurred at midnight in Majia town after the tanker driver lost control of the vehicle while traveling on a highway. Against the backdrop of the petrol tanker explosion in Jigawa State, Tora local government area of the state last night, which led to the loss of lives and hundreds of more persons injured, the Senate is now asking the National Orientation Agency to intensify sensitization on the dangers of indulging in the dangerous acts of scooping fuel from tankers whenever a tanker accident occurs, as part of measures to forestall reoccurrence of this unfortunate incident. These resolutions follows a matter of urgent importance sponsored by Senator Hosseini Babangida Uba, representing the Jigawa Northwest. The upper chamber also asked the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management, as well as NEMA, to immediately provide relief materials to the victims of the inferno. In the meantime, the Jigawa State Police Command has attributed the high number of casualties and injured persons in the explosion to desperate moves by the people in the area to scoop the product which littered the ground after the accident. All right, so there you go, our developing story and top story this hour. Will bring you up to speed in subsequent news packages as regards to the updates right there in Jigawa State. But let's get things started now as we take you to the South region. Commuters using the Bekwara-Katsina-Ala Federal Highway are urging both the federal and state government, along with other organizations, to intervene due to the severe hardship caused by the deteriorated section of the road. Many of them, stranded for over 7 days, have expressed frustration, citing the loss of food items and goods meant for sales across the country. They're also appealing for immediate government action to fix the road, as the delays are not only affecting their livelihoods, but also hindering access to essential services and movement between regions.
The Bekwara-Katsina-Ala Federal Highway, located in the northern part of Cross River State, serves as a crucial link for the Uburu and Otukwe communities in Bekwara local government area. These communities are known for their farming, particularly in the cultivation of yam, rice, groundnut, and cassava. Previously, it took about 6 hours to travel from Calabar, the state capital, to these areas. However, the worsening condition of Bekwara-Katsina-Ala Federal Highway has drastically changed the situation. Motorists and commuters now spend several days trying to navigate the deteriorating road, which is vital for connecting the northern and southern regions of the country.
I paid transport of 180,000, that is part payment, with the hope that as I get to Onitsha, I will now complete the money. All that tomatoes of over 250,000 condemned.
We have been suffering here. We went to Benue State to buy market. On our way coming back, nowhere that the vehicle will pass. We are pleading the federal government to come to our aid.
The road has become impassable, with a large muddy gully splitting it in half, causing massive traffic delays, collapsed trucks, long lines of trailers, and stranded travelers are a common sight, with many resorting to pushing their vehicles through the remains of the dilapidated infrastructure.
We have been here for the past 7 days or more than that, like I said earlier. So they should come to our rescue. Even there's a way they will just bring like a concrete, they will just level it so that at least there should be temporary relief for us so that all these trucks were able to pass.
Frustrated commuters recount the days they've spent stuck in the same spot, some losing perishable goods and animals in the process. Villagers too face difficulties due to the influx of vehicles trying to use alternative routes. Students are unable to attend school, and farmers have suffered crop losses.
As I'm even talking to you, they use our school as their federal highway now. So we want everything, at least, to look onto our community, the schools, the street, the light. Look at our wire here, have been damaged with all those trucks.
In this village, we don't even have anything. We, like a woman in this village, our occupation is to boil rice. Look at our road, they have destroyed. There's no place for us to even dry our rice. So we are begging. Maybe the governor should help us, or we don't even know what to do.
The motorists are urging the government to urgently address the road's condition, while the state government says it is working on temporary solutions as they await federal intervention. The special advisor on general duties to Governor Otu emphasizes that all hands are on deck to provide relief.
We are already in October now. We're waiting for the rains to reduce. So there will be, from the states, as we have done previously, there will be some intervention by way of palliative construction where those areas will be filled by the state government materials. Particularly as we're expecting to host the wall in Carnival. If there are no access roads, then Carnival will fail.
Residents, commuters, and motorists alike are pleading with the federal government to fix this long neglected road, allowing them to safely carry out their daily activities and earn a living.
Away from infrastructure, an international organization known as the Forte Foundation, accompanied by some civil society organizations, has visited Ogoni land to assess work and engage with the management of the hydrocarbon pollution remediation project on the progress of the ongoing cleanup efforts. Our correspondent Deborah Balama reports that the visit aims to foster better relationship between the CSOs and HYPREP.
The delegation, which includes members of the Ford Foundation and civil society organizations, began their visit at the HYPREP head office in Port Harcourt, where they hold a meeting with HYPREP's management. After the meeting, the project coordinator, Professor Nenebari Nizabe, speaks to journalists and shares some key points discussed during their session.
We also discussed the need to quantify carbon stock in the mangroves in Ogoni, because one area that we can leverage to protect the restored mangroves in Ogoni is to create alternative livelihood opportunities for them.
Representing the Ford Foundation, Mr. Emmanuel Koyole explains the purpose of their visit to River State and why they are meeting with HYPREP.
Part of our focus is on how to make a contribution to address the impacts of communities and the people whose lives and livelihoods have been over the years wrapped in natural resource extraction, particularly oil, gas, and mining.
Following the meeting, the delegation goes into an inspection tour to assess the progress of some HYPREP's major projects. Their first stop is the remediation site in Eleme LGA, where they observe ongoing efforts to reverse the damage caused by oil pollution. They also visit the mangrove plantation. Next, they visit the Center of Excellence and Environmental Research in Kana LGA, a key project focused on long-term restoration through research and innovation. After visiting the sites, the delegation speaks to journalists, sharing their views on the cleanup efforts and emphasizing the importance of international collaboration to achieve environmental justice for Ogoni land.
We know that Ogoni land is just 4 local government area in the Niger Delta, which is a mass polluted space, and there's cleanup required everywhere. And that's why I'm particularly excited about the Center of Excellence.
Something is being done to remediate the shoreline, to restore the mangrove, and also contributing to restoration of livelihood.
While some progress has been made, the hope of the Ogoni people is that their land will one day be fully restored. Deborah Balama, Channels Television News.
The Niger Delta Development Commission, NSCDC, has started remedial work on the Warri-Benin section of the East-West Road, covering a 3.5-kilometer stretch. This intervention aims to improve the Ibadan-Lume, Amukpe, Mosoga and Olugu areas, alleviating the difficulties faced by motorists and commuters. NSCDC Managing Director Samuel Ogboku, during an inspection, states that the work was initiated due to the hardship experienced on the road. He adds that this effort will complement the ongoing construction by the Federal Ministry of Works, with completion expected within a month.
For us in NSCDC, as an interventionist agency, it is also left for us to reduce the pains and sufferings of our people. So I haven't had lots of complaints and series of complaints, videos circulating all over the social media of how transporters and even our people are suffering on this road in various junctions, from this Elume junction to Amokpe down to Ulugu, various areas where in fact vehicles cannot even pass. Some of them are diverting through the communities inside. So we thought, after being advised by the presidency, we were called by the presidency to immediately do some intervention work, which is a remedial work. We know that most contracts that have been awarded for such jobs, the remedial work is not included. So we're asked by the president to undertake the remedial work to ensure that while construction is going on, the road is also passable, so that we do not also increase the sufferings and the pains of the people.
Well, let's take you to Akwa Ibom State, where Governor Umoino has sworn in new permanent secretaries, urging them to focus on delivering results in alignment with his Arise agenda. The governor also stresses that his administration is committed to results and will not tolerate excuses, encouraging the newly appointed officials to collaborate with the commissioners and other appointees to meet the state's goals. The governor reiterates that his administration is working within a time frame to ensure good governance and the well-being of the people, while also calling for innovation, accountability, and effective service delivery in the public service as part of the state's transformation. The Arise agenda, which guides the current administration, prioritizes agricultural revolution, rural development, infrastructural advancements, security management, and educational progress, all aimed at improving the lives of residents of Akwa Ibom State.
You are coming into your new position at a time of a very high expectation. We don't have the benefit of time on our side. Every available moment must be used to work for the betterment of our people, because that's why they sent us here, and that's what they sent us here to do for them. You will be the administrative heads of the ministries and MDAs you will be assigned to. You are to work collaboratively with the honorable commissioners that will be in charge or that are in charge of the ministry you may be assigned, and deliver on our mandate as outlined in the Arise agenda. We are a government of results and not of excuses. Excuses and weaklings will not be tolerated. Given your pedigree, which led to your appointment, I know you will deliver on your new assignments.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. This is a Newsroom series. Our focus is on South Nigeria. And concerns are growing over the increasing rate of drug abuse among Nigerian youths, which many fear could hinder the nation's progress if not urgently addressed. Advocacy groups, including the Catholic Bishop of Warri Diocese, are calling on the government, traditional rulers, and society at large to unite in combating the troubling trend. These concerns were highlighted during a seminar on the dangers of drug abuse held in Warri Delta State. Participants also stressed the need for collective efforts to prevent drug abuse and secure a productive future for youths in the country.
According to recent United Nations research, 1 in 7 Nigerians aged 15 to 64 years has used a drug other than tobacco and alcohol, with drug use prevalence estimated at 14.4%. The report also states that 14.3 million people in this age group used psychoactive substances in the past year for non-medical purposes. This alarming trend has brought together advocacy groups, including the Justice, Development and Peace Commission, the Catholic Bishop of Warri Diocese, Most Reverend Dr. Anthony Ewerido, the Police Commissioner, and other critical stakeholders for a seminar titled Dangers of Harmful Drugs and Sensitization on Drug Dependency, Treatment, Care and Offenses.
From the media to the party.
The seminar aims to highlight the dangers of drug abuse, its effect on society, drug dependency, and potential solutions for drug demand reduction and harm prevention. Consultant psychiatrist at the University Teaching Hospital, Jos, emphasizes that sensitization alone is not enough to curb drug abuse among Nigerian youths.
People do drugs when the school system is poor, there's rejection, there is aggression towards peers, and then there is peer influence and all that because of the lack of fair system of parenting that we are practicing.
Cultism has also been identified as one of the vices fueling drug abuse, with law enforcement officials noting an increase in crimes linked to this trend.
Most of the deliberate killings we've recorded is as a result of drug abuse. There was a case I treated 2 years ago. 2 brothers, in fact, they were the only children of that woman. They were living together in a flat, and they got high on codeine, tramadol, and loud. One of them died in the room. After his death, the younger brother was still in there. He didn't know the brother was dead. He was feeding him. For 3 days, he was there, the body was decaying, he was feeding him. That is what drug can do to us.
The Catholic Bishop of Warri Diocese, Most Reverend Dr. Anthony Ewerido, stresses that eradicating drug abuse is a collective responsibility to ensure the future of the Nigerian nation.
Every one of us is a stakeholder, individuals and communities, even our traditional rulers and traditional institutions and community leaders. We all need to be involved in this, because if we can take illegal drugs from our streets, if we can ensure that our young ones are not hooked on these things, then we can guarantee the future of our country.
The primary goal of this program is first to create awareness about the drug problem we have in the country, to sensitize people on what drug abuse is, its effects and consequences on individuals and family and the country.
The key message from the seminar is that all efforts must be united to protect Nigerian youths from drug abuse and secure a safe future for the country.
Well, let's take you to Edo State, where Governor Godwin Obaseki says the administration has changed the mentality of public servants with deep-rooted reforms to improve service delivery. Obaseki, who said this during the swearing-in ceremony of new members of the State Civil Service Commission inside the executive chambers of the Government House in Benin City, the Edo State capital, asked that the civil service receives priority attention as it is the biggest asset of any government. The new members of the Edo State Civil Service Commission include Aluyu Igodalo, who will serve as chairman. Others are Ehi Obaseki, Gilbert Adegboyega, Julia Latunji, and Margaret Uhiowele.
The Civil Service Commission has been designed to serve as a human resource agency of government, not a political contraption. That agency that is supposed to nurture, first, hire, nurture, train, and exit this critical asset of government. But as a government, we have no regrets for the steps we have taken. And in constituting this Civil Service Commission, we have been very, very deliberate to strike that balance and begin to make that shift between the traditional thinking about staffing in government and the new thinking where you now manage the staff in government with sound human resource principles. My charge to you is that you now have the responsibility of converting the Civil Service Commission to a professional HR organization to manage the staff in government. You now have to advise government and broaden the scope of the commission, not only to deal with what you call civil servants, but in fact all public servants, because the band is quite wide. So yes, you have responsibility for the civil service, but you also have responsibility to advise government on how to manage the other categories of staff in the public service as a whole.
Away from Edo State, the recently inaugurated Judicial Commission of Inquiry into the tragic incidents of arson, killings and destruction of property at several local government council headquarters in Rivers State is preparing to commence its formal proceedings. The commission, led by Justice I.R. Aminakiri, was established by the governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, in response to the violent attacks that occurred on Monday, October 7, 2024. In light of this, the commission is calling on all affected persons, civil society groups, organizations, and members of the public to submit a memoranda detailing their experiences, observations, and recommendations. The submission of memoranda is an important step towards understanding the root causes of the violence, the extent of the damage, and those responsible for the attacks. We understand that the terms of reference for the commission include identifying the individuals or groups involved, evaluating the damage and loss of life, and assessing whether the violence was politically motivated. Interested parties are required to submit 2 hard copies of their memoranda to the Commission's Secretariat. This inquiry, we understand, aims to provide justice for the victims, accountability for those involved, and to develop strategies to ensure such violence does not occur again in Rivers State. The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, Rivers State Command, has clarified its role during the recently concluded local government elections. The Public Relations Officer, Olufemi Ayodele, explains that the NSCDC was involved in routine patrols and the protection of critical national assets, contrary to reports suggesting the Corps intervened after a court barred the police from participating in the elections. Ayodele also notes that the operational vehicles provided by the Rivers State government were meant to enhance the NSCDC's efficiency and not for election duties. He also emphasizes that no NSCDC official were stationed at polling centers and the vehicles were donated following a briefing with the Rivers State governor.
Hearing the news on the social media and from different media quarters that the vehicles were given as sort of compensation for participating in the just concluded local government election. It is very imperative to set the record straight that the involvement of the NSCDC in the last local government election was very defined, and our duty was in tandem with the statutory mandate of the core, which is to protect and safeguard critical national assets and infrastructure. This is because before the election took place, we have intelligence at our disposal revealing that some unscrupulous elements, hoodlums, will be perpetrating election violence. The commandant, in his pragmatic move, gave the order that officers and men should go on patrol only. No officer was posted to either polling unit or collation center. Rather, we patrolled the 23 local governments of the state to protect the critical national assets and infrastructure and ensure that they are safeguarded. It is on this note that we enjoin all media practitioners, whether social media or conventional media. We urge you to validate information according to the standard operating procedures guiding the media and journalism, and confirm information before making comments or before making publication.
And that story from Rivers State does it for us here on Newsroom Series this hour. Thanks indeed for watching. On behalf of the production team and everyone here, I'm Kelly Egiga. Bye now.